Hello everybody and welcome to part 9 of our top 100 games of all time in the year 2023. Today we are doing our top 20 through 11, so we're getting into the really good games now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really good. If you have a top 20 games, let us know in the comments below. I'd love to read those. Smash the like button if you're going to enjoy this and subscribe so you don't miss the top 10 coming out tomorrow. But anyway, without further ado, my name is Michael.
And I'm Janela.
And we're gaming up with the Joneses, so let's get into it.
Let's do this. All right, my number 20 is a game that you've already mentioned in the previous video, actually.
Oh, wow.
It is Welcome to.
Oh, what?
Is your mind blown?
Yes.
More so
I
in
thought
this
that would
video?
be your top 5 also. What the heck is in your top 5?
You will have to wait
This
and
is
find out
weird.
later on. So like we said in that video, this game is a roll and write type of game. Everybody starts with the same sheet of paper. You have 3 different rows of houses that you need to fill in with the numbers that show up, starting from least to highest, and you want to make sure that you try and place them that way just so you can fill in all your houses. With all the cards, there's a variety of different ones that will show up along with the symbol. There's like pools that you can have, which will give you extra points at the end of the game. One thing you didn't talk about was forests.
Yeah, that's the parks.
Oh, the parks. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. What about the purple bonus points? Did you talk about that one?
No.
If you get the purple symbol, you can mark it off on your board and it'll make your houses worth more. So yeah, you were right.
No,
So you
yeah.
can mark off 2, 3, and I feel like it's almost more powerful too to mark off like the higher ones, because depending on where you put your fences, that's another portion too. Your fences, it can make your 5s worth a ton of points, because the higher it is, I feel like the way more points you get. So yeah. Let's see what else. And then there's like these caution looking symbols that you can get, and whoever has the most amount of those gets like 7 points. So yeah, that's about it for that game. Pretty easy, simple. It's been a little bit again since we played that game, because we got it, we played it a ton, and then I haven't played it in a while again. I think the reason why I haven't been wanting to play it though is the last game we played, I got a pretty high score, and I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
So, all right, that is my number 20. Welcome to.
My number 20 is new to the list this year. It was her number 21, so we just missed a exact crossover again. It is Architects of the West Kingdom.
No wonder you were like, nope, I didn't talk about it.
Yeah, because it was next.
I was like, are you sure? And you're like, yup.
So, in Architects of the West Kingdom, it's a worker placement game. You place your worker and do the action there. But the cool thing about it, when you place a second worker there, it adds extra resources for each one. So the symbol is, if you go there once, it's like, let's say wood, for example, then you get 1 wood, plus 1 wood for every worker that's already there. So if you already have like 3 workers and you put a 4th one, that's 4 wood in 1 turn, and it starts adding up fast. You have 20 workers to start with, so if you get to the point where you have like 8 workers there, that's a lot of wood per turn. But the thing is if you have too many people in one spot, you become a target for the guy that throws you in jail, because there's a position you can go to grab everybody from one spot and throw them in your jail. And I think you get a coin, or you get some type of resource per person that you throw in jail, which is why you'd want to do that. And then they have to pay something to get them out, or
I think so.
something like that. It's been a while. We need to play this one. I really want to play this one again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've only played it a couple times, but it's pretty high on our list for not playing very much, so we definitely need to play this one more.
Yeah.
But that's my number 20, Architects of the West Kingdom.
My number 19 is one that Michael's already mentioned in a previous video. It is Sheriff of Nottingham.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
That was a while back that he mentioned it.
73. That's pretty low.
That is really low for you. Yeah, at least, I don't know. Maybe it's just really high for me. Anyway, this game is like a, what would you call it?
Bluffing
A
game?
bluffing game. So everybody...
I guess you could tell the truth, but you ain't going to win.
You can... So
It's
there's
also
sheriff,
a
right?
blackmail game, kind of, in a way. Like,
Yeah.
not not necessarily, well, kind of in a way, because you can be like, Sheriff, please don't look. I'll give you like 3 coins if you don't look. Pay me 4 or else I'm looking. All right, fine.
Yeah, it's super fun. And the group that we played with, they were a really good group to play that with, because
it got crazy on the last round. Everybody started like bribing the crap out of the sheriff. They're like, I will give you 18 coins. Okay, maybe not quite that much.
No, it's not quite that much.
It was insane. He ended up winning the game because of that. Because everybody gave him so much money on the last turn.
Yup. Yeah. So if you're playing this game, make sure you go last, because everybody will give you money. I'm just kidding.
Probably.
But yeah.
Or we'll learn our lesson and not do that again.
But yeah, it's a fun game, because if you are the sheriff and you have somebody's bag that you look into, but they were telling the truth, you have to pay for those goods, right?
Yes.
For them?
Yes, you have to pay for them or something like that. Yeah, because it's like, I guess you ruined them or something.
Yeah.
Like if they were apples or something.
Yeah, if they're all apples and you were like, nope, gonna check it anyways. I think that happened.
So you can bluff and act like you're trying to keep something from the sheriff too and be like, don't check it, I'll give you money. And then they check it anyway, but you were like trying to make them check it. So you can bluff. You could bluff by telling the truth, but make it look like you're lying, or lie and make it look like you're telling all
you were really good at
things.
reverse psychology. You and Reagan, really good at reverse psychology on that. And I think it's you.
I didn't do very good at that.
When you were the sheriff and it was my turn to tell you what I had in my bag, you would never believe me, so you would always check it, but I would always be telling you the truth, and I think you were the only one that I was ever telling the truth, and you would always check it. So funny.
So I helped you even more.
Yep. That is my number 19, Sheriff of Nottingham.
Nice. My number 19 is the first one on my list that has actually went up instead of down.
Oh, nice.
It was my number 31 last year, so it went up to 12 spots.
Nice.
And it's probably because we got the big box version with expansions. This is Carcassonne, which is crazy, but we've also been playing it a little bit more than all these other games too.
Yeah.
Throughout the year. And in Carcassonne, you're playing tiles, and you have a chance to put a meeple down after you play a tile. You just take a random tile, place it somewhere, kind of like dominoes, and then you have a choice to put a meeple down. Put them on a road, in a city, on farmland, or in an abbey with the base game, and then there's different things that you can add with the expansion. We haven't even played with all of them yet. We played with the builders, and we played with the traders, and the abbey, and obviously the river, because you have to play with the river.
Yeah.
And then that might be it. I don't think we ever played with the witch and wizard yet.
I don't think so.
We played with the pig, whatever that does. I forgot what that expansion was from. But yeah, I don't know, we have like 11 expansions to it. But fun game, simple game, old game, 1999.
Wow.
But still in my top 20. Number 19, Carcassonne.
Dang. That was a lot higher than mine, because mine was 38.
Oh, wow.
Weird.
Interesting.
My number 18 is Mysterium.
I did that one already.
So funny watching your reaction.
I did that one already,
Yes,
right?
you did.
I figured that would be higher on your list, too.
So this game is a cooperative game where you'll have a ghost. So it's kind of like a theme where somebody died in the hotel and they're a ghost, and so they're trying to give the other players visions to try and help solve the crime. So you'll have a person, a place, and a murder weapon for each player, and then at the very end you have to guess which one is the correct combination. So yeah, I feel like this game is super hard as the ghost, and you have to have the right person be the ghost to give the clues, because if not, it can be not so fun.
That's true.
let's see, because the vision, it's just vision, so it's literally just pictures, and everybody can interpret them just a little bit differently.
Well, there's like 5 different things going on in each picture, so you're trying to interpret it.
Yep, to the best of what you can. But yeah, it's so funny though, because when I was the ghost, the last game we had played, everybody, I swear, literally everybody for like the first one to guess their person guessed it correctly. And then as soon as they started talking amongst each other, I think only one person didn't switch it, and everybody switched it to the wrong ones, and I was like, oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
And then Reagan was mad at you because you're the one that convinced her to switch
convinced her
her.
to switch it twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, I'm done talking after that. And then I was right the next time.
Yeah, and then she didn't want to believe you at that point anymore. Oh man, yeah, that game it's super fun. I feel like
if you like Clue, like if you're newer to board games or whatever, and you like old ones like Clue, this is cooperative Clue but better. I think.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, that's my number 18, Mysterium.
Nice. My number 18 is a crossover from last video.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say this video already?
No, it was my number 7 last year, so it's dropped a bit. It is Rise of Tribes. Rise of Tribes is a fun one, but I think we've only played it a couple times in the last year.
Yeah.
And you on your turn, there's 4 different actions. You roll 2 dice, and then you can move them to do 2 out of the 4 actions. And there's also 3 dice on top, so you're trying to really get suns because they boost the actions, and moons will make it negative if you have 2 or more of each. And then also if you roll doubles, then events can happen and change up the game a little bit. And so your 4 actions are to grow, which is add more people to the board. You have 20, up to 20 you can add. Your second action is to move. You can move people around the board. Then you can gather, doing a motion from different hexes depending on how strong that is. And then you can lead, which is drawing cards from your 15 card deck. And about half of those are goals to score points, and the other half are like upgrades. They also give you 1 point for building it, but like let's say basket. And now with the baskets, you get 1 extra resource per square, something which is really strong. Or there's an ox, I think, that does something. There's bows that make you're allowed to kill, like take a person out at the battle before they start fighting. So you basically get 1 extra attack. There's a few others. So there's probably not as many upgrades, maybe 6 upgrades, and then the rest are probably gold cards. So you can either win by getting gold cards and try to get your points, or by building villages, because at the beginning of your turn, for each village that you have built, you get an extra bonus point per turn. So if you have 3 villages, that's 3 points in 1 turn. That starts adding up fast, because first one to 15 wins.
Don't you have to have like 5 at least in that spot though, or no?
5
of your workers or whatever they are.
No.
You did.
I don't think so. You want to have 5 because you want to defend it.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think you can build a village where you have 1 person. So, but it puts a target, especially if you only have 1 person there, people are going to go try to destroy that village.
Yeah.
But that is my number 18, Rise of Tribes.
Alrighty, my number 17 is Scythe.
Wow, okay.
So this is
I think that's fair. I think I would expect it around here, I think, depending on what comes next.
This is a pretty large game. Everybody has their specific character, but it's at random as well, so that makes it even more interesting. You have a combination of like a
2-player boards. You got your character board and then an extra one.
Yeah. So, and then there's one combination that you can't have though.
There's 2 that you're not allowed
2?
to because
It
apparently
just makes
they're
it
too overpowered.
But yeah, this game is pretty crazy. Everybody starts in their area, and they're trying to kind of expand and explore. But you have a bunch of different ways you can do that. You have different actions on your board. So if you go there, that's what you do. I forgot what their actions are though.
Well, there's a top and then a bottom, and each board is different for each player. So the tops are all the same, but the bottoms are in different spots on other people's players or things. So on your turn, you basically do the top action, and then if you can afford the bottom, you can buy it.
Yeah.
And so the top actions are to move. You can move your player and workers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is to trade is one of the top ones, where I forgot how you do it. You just get 2 resources, right? I think you pay 1 coin to get 2 of any resource.
I think so.
And then another one is to use your workers on their spots to generate resources, but they start costing money the more and more workers you have out.
Yep.
So at first you only start with 2 workers, but they're free. But later on, if you add your other 8 workers, then you have to pay popularity and money and power to get them to work. But they produce a lot more.
Yeah.
And then the 4th action.
I don't remember.
Wow. I can't think of it right now. Let's see.
I know you had to have a bunch of food for it. Right? No, that's
No, that's enlisting.
Army?
It's to gain power, right?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Bolster?
Yes, bolster.
The last action is to bolster. So all those are on top. And bolstering allows you to either get 1 combat card, which helps you in combat with people, or get 2 power, which also helps you with combat.
Yep.
So you can do that.
The bottom actions will help you with different things too, but one of the cool things that I like about it is that you can deploy mechs. So and it's literally just like, depending on which player board you have, it's different colors and different shapes, but it's almost like they remind me of stormtroopers from Star Wars.
Wow.
The way that you have to like put them out there for you, but they like help with defending. And yeah, you can drag it, like if you have them in a space where you have your workers, you can like take them with you to drop them off too, just so you can have more control of more area of the board. And then there's also a space in the center of the board where you can go to get the factory where you can go to get like a bonus action. That's
usually really powerful. It's to move 2 spaces, which everything else is only to move once. Unless you get the mech out that allows you to move an extra space. I think everybody has that mech.
I think so.
And then it's to move 2 spaces, which helps you move really fast. But then on top of that, it's like a bottom action that's like cheap to do one of the bottom actions of the normal ones, like build a building for only a popularity or 2 or something, instead of paying resources.
Yep. And then there's, like I said, a variety. There's a variety of different ways you can win the game, but you have to get 6 different achievements
to end the game.
But
that doesn't necessarily mean you win.
Yeah, that's true, because you could end it, but all your tracks to get the money and points could be really low, and so that is my number 17, Scythe.
My number 17 was number 8 last year, so it's dropped 9 spots. Also, just like the last game, which is kind of crazy, so they're in the same order as last year.
Interesting.
It is one that you mentioned a few videos ago, and then you were surprised that I didn't mention it, but it is Black Fleet. Black Fleet is a game where everybody has a merchant and a pirate ship, and their merchants are picking up and delivering goods from different locations to make money, and the pirates are to attack other merchants. But they have to watch out for 2 Navy ships on the board that you can use, that everybody can use. They're NPC kind of. Well, not really non-player control. About everybody player controlled throughout the game.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they call them NPC ships, though.
I think they do.
But you can move those to attack people's pirates and sink their pirates. But it's okay to be sunk. You just come back on the board next turn. So it doesn't really hurt too much. There's no elimination or anything.
Sometimes I feel like it helps because you could have the Navy ship moved to a pirate and it takes you off the board. But
now
depending,
you're close enough to attack somebody.
Yeah. If you come in from a different spot, depending on where somebody's at, you could be close to attacking another merchant ship.
And the cool thing that you didn't explain last time, so the point to win the game is to rescue the governor's daughter. which costs 10 points in a normal game, 20 coins in a long
Oh,
game.
yeah.
But,
I forgot about that completely.
Yeah, but before you can do that, you have to spend money to upgrade your other 4 cards, I think.
I think it is.
You have
4,
one that costs 5, one that costs 8, one that costs 11, and one that costs 14. So yeah, there's 4.
Mm.
And they all have different themes on what they do to boost things. Like the 11 is for movement, which one, and everybody gets a different one, but you don't know what it is until you buy it. And I know one of them is crazy movement. Actually, a couple of them are, because one will allow you to teleport to different pirate locations, to different hideouts, which are crazy. And another one is to move through land, so you can tidal wave right over people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also other cards you can use for like one-time use powers too.
Yeah, and those ones you don't have to buy in order. Like you don't have to do 5.
No,
you can buy those out of order, but you do have to do the 21 or the last, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But game's really fun, easy teach. I think it's, out of like every game that I can think of, I think it's the most underrated game because it's only rated 7 out of 10 on BGG, and I'd say it's an 8. So that is my number 17, Black Fleet.
My number 16 is a game that you really like. But it might be a spoiler, so I'll just say it. My number 16 is A Feast for Odin.
Oh, I was going to guess Catan, but I think you already said Catan earlier.
This game, oh my goodness, so many different things you can do. So it's almost overwhelming, the amount of things you can do.
I think the base game has 64 spots. It's worker placement, but there's that many locations.
Yeah, so you could go like hunting, you can build like sheds, and you could gather like food, and if you get cattle, and if you get sheep, and then you can get like mountain stuff, and then you can get ships, and I don't know. There's so much stuff you can do. And then
you can turn all the green things into blue things.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
And you stole it from me last time.
I know. I think that's what won me the game.
I think it
That's
was.
such a powerful place. Especially if you hold on to your stuff, but you can't be too greedy because if you hold on to it too long.
Yeah. And then there's like, okay, so then, yeah, every round you have to feed your people. Every like other round you get a harvest of stuff to be able to feed your people. But the rounds that is skipped is when you like feel like you're struggling to feed your people. One thing that I like to do a lot is I'll buy like a ship, and I don't remember what it's called, to like flip it over.
It starts with an E.
Emigrate. So yeah, you can buy a ship, and then you can take that ship and emigrate, and you can pay, depending on the round you're on, you can pay that cost to emigrate, and that covers up your food spaces. So I like to do that.
Not only that, it triples the amount of points your boat is worth. So it's like 21 points for your big ship if you do that one.
Yeah. And then that's less food you have to worry about feeding to your people.
Yeah.
And then you also have another big old board next to you that you're trying to fill up and cover up for minus points. You're trying to get bonuses on them. But
there's probably like 50 or 70 minus points that you have to cover up on that board because you got polyomino Tetrising stuff you can do too. Fill up your shed, I guess is what that is, or I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and you want to make sure to have them like upgraded as much as you can to the blue, because you can't have a bunch of like greens touching each other because you have to separate them. So you want to like have them be upgraded to the fullest if you can. But yeah, super fun game. I really enjoy it. Although I do hate it when I want to go through to a spot
and I go right before you.
And you go right before me. Like, how dare you have the same thoughts that I'm having? Yeah, so that's one thing I do hate about it, but I mean, what can you do? That is my number 16, A Feast for Odin.
Ooh, my number 16 was number 1 last year. It's dropped 15 spots, but I still like the game a lot. It is Catan. In Catan, you basically are trying to get 10 points, and you start with 2 because each settlement you have is worth a point, and you start with 2 settlements. based on which hexes that they're touching have numbers, and when you roll the dice, or when anybody rolls the dice, if those numbers are rolled that your thing is touching, you get those resources. And then you spend them to build more settlements, roads, and cities to get more points. Cities are worth 2 points, and they give you double resources.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically the whole game, really. It's pretty simple. There's also, you can spend resources on development cards that can either give you knights. Half of them are knights to help you steal from other people, and half of them are like bonuses, and 5 of them are bonus points that you keep secret. So, yeah. That's basically it for the base game. Then there's 5 expansions out, I think, and then a bunch of scenario expansions. So, yeah, pretty cool game. My number 16, Catan.
Nice. My number 15 is Wingspan.
Oh,
This
wow.
is the game that we talked about in the previous video. It's a super cool cover, like I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard about this game. But yeah, you have a big board of 4 different actions you can take. So actually 5, right?
4.
4, but you could also do the very, very top to
Which
play
is
a
the
bird.
4th one.
Oh, it is only 4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you can do the very top one where you spend like a cube to play a bird card, and then you have to pay its cost, of course. And then yeah, depending on where you place the bird, the more birds you have, the better going to that action can be, because like the very top, the second top one, I guess, is food. So the more birds you have, you can get more food. And then depending on what birds you play, if they have a brand power, you can activate those powers to give you more things. What's the middle one?
Eggs.
Eggs. Okay, so yeah, so you get more eggs the further right you go, and then the very bottom is drawing cards. And then there's also, I don't think you talked about it, like goals that you can go for each round.
I did really quickly. I said there's round goals or something like that.
Yeah, so you're trying, it's kind of hard because you're trying to go for those round goals because they give you bonus points, but at the same time you're trying to like play all your bird cards too, because they give you points, and so it's kind of like, oh, what do I do? And then I think it's super cool too, kind of like Everdale has a tree. This one has its little like dice tower, so you can roll your dice and it falls all super cool to show you the food that you can pick. So yeah, super fun game, super popular. Pretty sure you've all have heard of it. That is my number 15, Wingspan.
My number 15 was number 24 last year, so it went up 9 spots. It is Codenames. Yeah, Codenames went up because the last few times I've been playing it, I've been having a lot of fun. I'm starting to really like being the clue giver. So it is a team against team game where you are trying to guess. I don't think you've had this on your list yet. Sorry, I just like completely was explaining and then boom. But anyway, it's team against team, and you're trying to guess your specific tiles, I guess, that are words.
Clues,
yeah, that are, well, they're not the clues. The clue giver gives clues on the tiles so that you can get them. And they're allowed to use one word and then a number to represent how many of the words on there that you're trying to get from the clue that they give. It's really hard to explain without actually having it.
Yeah, it is kind of hard.
In the future, we'll probably have a video on this game too, so yeah. The only thing that sucks is you have to have, for it to be good, you have to have like 6 people at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you could play at 4. I guess you could technically, it says on the box you could play at 2, but that's a lie. 4 is like the minimum. I think there's a variant to play at 2, but it's not the real version of the game. Mm-hmm. And you could play more than that, any amount more. I mean, you could play with 100 people if you wanted to. I mean, that'd be crazy, but there's not really a limit. I think the box says 8, but that's dumb. We've played with like 12 before and it's fine. So, yeah, game's really fun. There is one tile that you want to make sure you don't hit. It's an assassin. If you hit that, you automatically lose. So you have the chance of doing that. So you don't want to be too crazy at risk taking because you can lose right off from that. But you have one clue giver and everybody else gets to try to guess the clues, and then they all vote. And then they're like, all right, we're picking this one. And then you, as the clue giver, tell them if they're right or wrong. but you're not allowed to talk. You basically say yes or no.
Yep.
And that's it. So that is my number 15 code names.
My number 14 is Merchants and Marauders.
What? That is high.
That is super high, I know, right?
You must like the game.
Apparently, it's in my top 15. 14.
Higher than Welcome To? Okay, I'm getting crazed out now. I don't even know if that's a word, but if it is, I just made it up.
I think the biggest reason why I like it though is it's like a high rewarding type of game, but it kind of sucks if like things go not in your favor, because there's a lot of things that can go against you.
Yeah, there's a lot of luck because they're die roll. It's a game that it's okay that there's a lot of luck because it's almost like a storytelling. Like, ooh, my pirate has went here to do this and this and this and all that. So it's definitely an Ameritrash game, not a Euro game.
Yeah, this game I don't think I've ever been a pirate, or maybe I have once and absolutely hated it and was like, nope, never mind. Hated that. But I'm always usually a merchant, and as a merchant you typically just gather goods or buy goods, sell them to the port that they are demand.
Oh,
there we go.
I was like, what are you talking about? A port is a port.
A port is a port. So you'll take it to a port in demand, and if you sell more than 3 goods of the same kind, then you get a victory point. So I like to try and do that a lot. But this one, last time we played as a merchant too, so he kept stealing all my goods, which sucked. But you know, it ended up being fine because I was able to use, because we played with the expansion, I was able to use different like areas outside of going into the port to be able to help me too.
Oh yeah, are they locations? I think that's what they're called.
So, but yeah, there's also the wind with the expansion that kind of sucks because it could come
if you
towards
go towards
you.
it, you lose an action.
Yep, so that kind of sucks. But for some reason, I did really good on the very last game we played, which I think is why it jumped up really high for me.
Yeah, you won, I think, somehow.
I did. Because I stashed a bunch of gold at the end. Because I ended up.
You beat me by 1 turn both times. The last 2 times we played, I was on my way to stash my gold to win, and she did it on the turn before me both times.
Yep.
Or you had enough stash the second time, and then you just got a point or something.
No, I don't know what it was, but the very, very last one, I ended up being so lucky to where I was able to have my goods go to my own port to sell them, and then have just enough to stash to be able to win it. So it was pretty cool. So yeah, that is my number 14, Merchants and Marauders.
That is really surprising. I'm starting to learn. I think you might like the mechanism picking up and delivering stuff a lot. So we haven't really looked into too many. Black Fleet has that a little bit. Merchants and Marauders. I can't think of any others that we have that are like that. So I wonder if we should start looking into that more.
Maybe.
My number 14 was number 5 last year. It is dropped down a lot. Let me check something real quick. Yep. It is my favorite 2-player only game. 7 Wonders Duel.
Yeah.
7 Wonders Duel. We have both expansions for also because it's that good of a game. On that game, you're drafting cards and adding them to your tableau, I guess is what they call it, tableau building. And you have 4 different wonders that you can make, and your opponent has 4 different ones they can make, but only 7 can be built, so somebody can only build 3, but they usually give you some pretty strong powers to build. And then on top of that, you have 3 different ways to win. So you can either win by points, or you can win by a tug of war. Tug of war is what it is. What that mechanism's called. But anyway, tug of war version by knocking their
army,
their little token all the way to their side and crushing them in a military victory. Or you can win by getting 6 different science tokens, which I won the very first time we played like that, and then haven't been able to since because you do not let me.
Yeah, because I'm like. We thought you broke that game last time we played because He got an insane amount of money.
And I think I still lost.
No, I think you won. I think you did.
I don't know.
I can't remember now. But he thought that for each coin you got a point, so he kept grabbing all the money, but it's 3 coins for 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's kind of funny.
I still like that way to go. You like to go for the blue point buildings, and I like to go for money. And sometimes one way works, sometimes one doesn't. That's my number 14, Seven Wonders Duel.
Nice. Alright, my number 13 is the first crossover in this video, and it is Secret Hitler. Right? We talked about it in this video?
That was last video.
Oh.
Right?
My bad.
Yeah, that was last video.
Oh.
But it is a crossover. I wonder how many we're gonna have by the end of this. Like, how many actually
We'll have to,
crossover?
count.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So yeah, this game is like a social deduction game that everybody is assigned their role. Kind of like Werewolf, you close your eyes, and then whoever is the Chancellor and... No, not the Chancellor. Whoever's Hitler and fascists will open their eyes and see that they're on the same team. And then, yeah, they're going to try to win. And then the liberals will try to do their own thing and pass liberal laws is what it's called, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I call them laws. I can't remember what they're called.
But yeah, each person takes a turn being the president, and then whoever's the president will pick a chancellor, and then everybody gets a chance to vote whether they would they agree with who that whether they agree with whether they want that person to be the chancellor or not. So the card's either yay or nay, and the majority will win. So even if there's like one person that's like, no, too bad, majority wins. So and then yeah, after a certain amount of fascist laws get passed, I think it's 3. If let's say a fascist person ends up getting being the president, and then they appoint Hitler to be the chancellor, and everybody votes them yes to be the chancellor, then they win, because that's how you win the game as a fascist, as if Hitler gets voted as chancellor. So yeah, pretty
or
crazy.
they pass
All their
6
laws,
or something
yeah.
laws. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that is my number 13, a Secret Hitler.
My number 13 is new to my list this year, and it is a new game in our house, and you've played it once, and of course you beat me. It is Meadow.
Oh, wow.
You haven't named it yet, so it must be pretty close to your top 10, somewhere around there at least. I'm gonna laugh if it's like number 5. But anyway, in Meadow, you have different tokens of different actions you can do, and you can use them one way or another. One is to get cards from the middle of the board, and one is to do the special ability, and also try to complete a goal, if you can, of getting 2 symbols that are next to each other on the board, which is always randomized. And you have different cards that come down a row, and some are east cards, which are usually buildings or stuff that you add to buildings. You have south cards, which later get upgraded into north cards halfway through the game, and those are usually more animal cards that give you points. And then you have the east cards, which are like land cards. I think I called the west ones east. West cards are the building ones usually, and east are the lands, which allow you to start new ones in your tableau. You can have up to 10 stacks, but the cool thing is you start stacking, like, so let's say this land is a tree, and you get an animal that can eat a tree, boom, it stacks on top, and now you have, I don't know, maybe a small, let's say a frog somehow ate the tree plant. Now you can get a bird that eats a frog and stack that on top and slowly get more and more and more. So that's kind of cool. But they all have different symbols. And yeah, I really like the game. It's really fun. We've only played it a couple times, but I could play it more, even though you beat me last time. It seems like it scales pretty good. At 2 players, you have less goals. But I played it at 4 before too. And you have more rounds at 4 players, but you get only a couple more turns after you do all the math, because in 2 players you have more more turns per round. So it kind of evens out. But I won my first game playing with 4 players, and then she won her first game against me. So I thought I was all good at it, and then I got put in my place. But that's my number 13, Meadow.
My number 12 is Agricola.
Oh, okay. That was my 22. Holy cow, that was low.
Yeah, I'm so surprised when you said that. So Agricola. I really like this game because
that's why I like it too, because I love the mechanics in my games.
Shut up. I really like this game because I was able to beat him at it, and also because the very last time we played it, I was able to like fill in all my spaces, and that was really cool to be able to do.
Did you even get any negatives? Because you had all types of animals, all types of crap. I don't know if you got any negatives.
I don't think I did.
Now we got a train in the background, but that should be okay.
But yeah, this game, you start off with your tile and you're literally trying to fill it up as best you can with a variety of different things. So you have, you can build fences and to have all different types of animals. You can build farmlands to have, is it like wheat and pumpkins or something like that?
Yeah.
And then
represents like grain and vegetables or something like that.
And then you have you could do like rooms, like more rooms, so you can have more workers be there. Also, as you keep progressing through the game, you're able to add, like I said, another worker to it, and then also at the very closer to the very end, you can add another worker without having to have a room, because the very first one you can upgrade a worker, or not upgrade a worker, but get a worker, you have to be able to put them in a room, and then the very last ones you don't have to have a room for them. Specifically for them, but it's at the very end of the game, so it's almost like you're just getting them to get yourself bonus points, because the more workers,
it's like 3 points a worker or something.
So yeah, this game gives you a lot of points for having a variety of different things, and like I said, it can be kind of hard to do that. And then also another game that you're trying to feed your people. So on top of everything else, you're trying to make sure that you have enough food for your people too. The very first time we played it, I heard Michael wrong, and I thought it was just 1 food per person, but it was 2 food per person. So I was like, oh, I have 3 food. I'll be fine. I was not fine, guys. So yeah, make sure you have enough
That's
food
true.
for your
If you
people.
get that negative, because you get negative 3 points for each person you can't feed, or I think it's for each food that you miss.
Yeah.
That kills the game. You lose, because I think normally a game ends at 48 points or something. 3 points is a lot of that.
That is a lot.
So yeah.
Yeah, so that is my number 12, Agricola.
My number 12 is new to the list this year. It's a new game that is very hard to find. You have not played this yet, but I think you're going to like it when you do, and that is Earth.
Oh, yeah.
In Earth, you are basically picking 4 different actions on your turn, but there's a top ability for the player's turn it is that picks it, and then everybody else gets to do the bottom part of the action. And so you can do a bunch of different things, like get soil is one, because that's the currency in that game. You spend soil to do stuff. It's been a little bit. One does watering plants. I can't remember what that does. Oh, I need to play it again, because it's been a little bit. I only played it once, but it was really fun, and I got creamed. It is a point salad game. It was 300 to 200 to 50.
Point salad, holy
Yeah,
cow.
where you get a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was still fun. I thought I was doing all good because I completed some of the goals first, but it didn't matter. But you also get to stack these things up and fill it with a tree based on stuff. And the cool thing is, so whatever ability gets triggered, or whatever action gets triggered, all of your things of that color go off too, that you've built in your tableau. So they all have actions. So one is to plant a plant or something. That's the green actions. Well, if somebody plants a plant or you do, you get to do all of your green abilities, which is really cool because it starts you getting to do a lot of stuff on your turn. But because everybody gets to do it on everybody's turn, the game goes fast at that. Like, you're not waiting on anybody, really, unless they're taking forever and you already did all yours. But it's really cool because of that. There's a ton of different cards that represent a bunch of different things, just like all these other animal game or nature games. I guess there's more plants and stuff than there is animals, I think. But it's a really fun game. We're gonna buy it as soon as we can, but it's out of stock like everywhere. The next like printing came out and it's still out of stock everywhere. So it's gonna be a hard one to get. It's gonna be the next Wingspan, I'm calling it. Like, people really like this game and it's blowing up. So that's my number 12, Earth.
Nice. Yeah, from everything you said, I'm excited to try this game. And then, like, seeing the cover too, it's another really pretty cover. Yeah. All right, my number 11 is Long Shot, the dice game.
Wow, I had that low.
You did.
Where did I have that at? 43. Dang.
Yeah, this is another game that's super short that you can play with a big group of people. This is another game that we've like brought and played a bunch and then haven't played it for a little bit again. So yeah, you're pretty much betting on different horses to win, but each person takes turn rolling the dice, which will be moving the horses specific spaces. And then on your actual player board, you can bid on a specific horse is doing the best, but sometimes you don't want to do that right away because you're like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, so there's another thing where you can do like concession stand. Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
There's a bunch of different stuff. Or you could like play tic-tac-toe. So if you cross out a number that you roll, if you get four in a row, you get a bonus that's underneath it. So. And those bonuses are pretty crazy. So you could either like move your own horse like a bunch of spaces, like 4 or something, or move 2 of your horses, like 2 spaces or 3 spaces. You can move other players' horses backwards. Yeah, so sometimes it's like super cool to be first because you're like, oh, okay, people are bidding on my horse, so hopefully I'll be doing good, and then I can get lots of money, because you get more money if your horses finish first and second and third too. But at the same time, like I said, people could be like, nope, don't want you to finish first, so they push you back. Or sometimes if somebody has bid on your horse, like if they bid a ton on you, they might push your horse with that big bonus 4 instead of their own horse. So that's happened too.
Or they don't buy a horse.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy a horse too, so.
Yeah, you don't have to, but it helps.
You get a special ability with them.
Yep. So yeah, that is my number 11, Long Shot, the dice game.
Wow. My number 11 is new to my list this year, and it is my top deck building game. It is the original deck building game, Dominion. I really like Dominion. I don't know why people hate on it. I think people are starting to hate on it because it was the first and they're like, ooh, there's better deck builders now. But Dominion's still really fun to play. Like, it's just crazy how you start off all slow. Like, ooh, I do 1 action, or all I have is 2 coins, I have to buy this.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But then
that does suck, but...
later in the game, it's like, plus an action, plus an action, plus an action, plus an action, draw a card. And like, you just keep going and going and going, and it's fun. And then you're like, 11 points, but I can only buy this for 8 because it's how you win, basically. But, yeah, it gets fun.
Yeah.
And there's tons of replayability because you only play with 10 of the special cards, and I think there's like 25 in the base game. And then I think there's like 9 expansions that add like that many more cards. So, yeah, that's even more crazy. I can't imagine that. But the game's really fun. You literally draw 5 cards, and then on your turn you play a card if it's an action, or spend money to buy stuff, or do both. And point of the game is to get the most points at the end of the game. And the game runs out when 3 or 4 stacks. 3 stacks run out, or if the big pointer stacks run out. What is that called? It starts with a P.
can't remember.
6-pointers, whatever they're called. If they run out, then the game ends. Providence, yeah. But anyway, that is the last one for today's video. That is Dominion. 2nd edition is the one we've played, I guess.
Yeah.
People still play the 1st edition, so I guess you gotta say that, because there's two cards, I think, that have been changed. But yeah, that game's fun. But anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, let us know what your top 20 through 11 is. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe. Ring the bell. Do not miss tomorrow's video. It is the top 10 greatest games of all time that we play, at least.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that one.
No, you don't. So click one of these cards if you want to go watch the playlist. Especially if you're like a day late, you can click it to go watch the next video. But we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.